All right, let's talk about ETFs and why they actually matter to you. And you might be thinking, the only reason they matter to me is because it's just going to be more capital right now into particular crypto, and therefore those cryptos will go up because more money's coming in. That's all I care about. I think there's a longer term view, and you should keep an eye on these, and we're going to discuss why. First of all, big dumb animal, don't do what I do, informational purposes only. So let's talk about, in general, these ETFs. Now I had this poll, you can see here, and I put three different things, got about 900 votes, obviously not statistically significant. I think most of the people that follow me are interested in kind of the same things, but regardless, I put up three: XRP, Hedera, and Solana. However, I forgot to put up Litecoin because, as you know right now, Bitcoin has an ETF, spot ETF. We'll talk about that in a second. And then Ethereum has a spot ETF. And then the ones that have been filed so far for trading in the US, XRP, Solana, Hedera, and Litecoin. And we'll get to all of those. You can see most people here said they thought Hedera. And I think there's probably a reason why. A lot of people kind of know what's going on. So let's just talk about exchange traded funds, ETFs. First, as you may know, things like Litecoin have been trading as ETPs for quite a while on other exchanges. So without getting into all the details, think of a Venn diagram. You got a big circle, and that big circle represents ETPs. An ETF is a circle within that. It's a more limited type of ETP called an ETF. ETPs can follow a lot of things, but with an ETF, and specifically what's called a spot ETF, that's as close as someone's going to get to owning the underlying asset, even though they don't, but they're going to be able to get the same one-to-one appreciation or depreciation of that underlying asset. Because as a spot, if you put in $100, they have to then go buy $100 of that thing. Gold ETFs, spot ETFs, silver spot ETFs, and they're easy, and they've been around forever to purchase just by going on Charles Schwab, Fidelity, that sort of thing. Same with these ETFs. Okay, why do I say that? Well, first of all, most of you that watch, I think, that watch my show, my episodes, I should say, I'm guessing are very technically savvy. So I'm going to ask you to turn that off so that you can have a broader view of this. And let me explain why. Believe it or not, some of you might be in your 20s or 30s. You don't realize that there was a time when there were, in my lifetime, 0 websites because there was no internet. DARPA doing their own thing, but I mean for the masses. There was no go to your computer, log on. Okay. Now, to create a website a very long time ago, and this is why I think ETFs are going to change, and this particular bull run where we are in 2025 for crypto is going to be an inflection point. And things are going to change drastically from here on out. So I understand we can look at some past data, but I think things are going to change and we're going to see a lot of differences going forward. And this is one of the reasons why. So way back when, to create a website, believe it or not, you had to get a domain name. And there's only one place called Internet. And then you had to go get hosting space, which you had to rent somewhere. And then if you wanted to put a WordPress site, you didn't just sign up on a website, click a button, pick a theme, put in some text, boom, a website. No, you had to download all the files. You had to open them all in a text editor. You had to put in the name of your database because you were using something like the MySQL or a SQL type database. You had to put in your name and password for the main person for WordPress. You had to change all those files. You had to upload them all somewhere. You had to wait 2 weeks for the domain name to point to your thing. You probably don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to explain. There's a point in time when the people on the internet, of all the people in the world, there were this many on the internet because it was that difficult to figure out how to get online or create a website. And then, of course, after browsers, with Netscape being first, people could then see things. Even then, they weren't doing it because it really wasn't that easy. It took a while. Adoption took a while. Eventually, more products, more services, and everyone now is online and they do all their shop. You know the deal. That's what's happening right now when it comes to investing in cryptocurrency. Because before now, before 2024, everyone had to figure out how to buy cryptocurrency. A lot of you are saying it's real easy. Okay. Take your 70, 80, 90-year-old parents, put them in front of a computer 2 years ago and say, buy some Bitcoin. It didn't happen. Oh, it's easy. Well, just go to your browser. Okay, now go over here. Now get this extension. Now install the extension. Now, figure out, here's your passphrase. Now write that down. Now do this. Now do that. Oh, make sure you turn on this. It's the extension so you can see. Forget it. It's not going to happen. But now, that's why I always talk about how important Coinbase is. And people say, well, Coinbase fees are too much. And Coinbase this and Coinbase that. It doesn't matter. It's what's going to get mass adoption. And believe you me, there will come a time where there'll be 10 Coinbases or all these competitors, and they will be very simple to use. And right now, people don't care about the fees. They just want to be able to get it in an easy, simple way and onboard those people. Same thing with these ETFs. If they can go into their Schwab account, their T. Rowe account, their Fidelity account, and they can buy their NVIDIA stock, or they can click and buy a gold ETF, or they can click and buy a Bitcoin ETF, they're going to do it. But they're not buying any of the other crypto because it's very difficult unless you believe that things like this, like these ETFs, are gateway drugs. And they are. It's going to get more interest. More ETFs will pop up. People will start investing in more of them. Then they'll know something other than Bitcoin. They'll start to know Ethereum. They'll start to know whatever else comes next. Solana, Litecoin, XRP, Hedera. They'll get more interested. Then there will be more products and services that are more easily available, like Coinbase. It'll look like a banking app. Or they'll be buying it through something like BSL, which is providing services to credit unions. And all of a sudden, it will proliferate and it will explode. Well, why does this matter to you and how is this going to help you? I think it's changing my point of view on some of the crypto that I hold. Now, let me explain. And first, actually, let's talk about these various ones. Bitcoin spot ETFs. It has to be spot to make a real difference in my mind. And the Ethereum ones are out. So what might come next? There's a bunch of variables. New administration, middle of January. Gary Gensler is out in a week or so. So the new SEC. So it's quite possible they say, you know what, just let all these ETFs go. On the other hand, if they were to roll them out slowly, it's always path of least resistance. XRP had legal issues, still does until it's done, with them being a security. The second one was Solana. Didn't quite come out and say, here's a lawsuit because it's a security, but it was in the Binance lawsuit that the SEC had, where they talked about a group of securities that didn't pass, a group of crypto that didn't pass a particular test, and therefore they might be securities. So that was talked about that might be a security. But then when it comes to Litecoin, I think they've been trading the most as an ETP, and they haven't been called out by the SEC in any sort of direct or ancillary lawsuit. And then there's Hedera. Litecoin had a November 2024 filing, I believe. And Hedera was a December, something like that. But regardless, I think Litecoin and Hedera will come out first, and then XRP and Solana. But who knows? They might just say, let them all go. We'll see. But here's what I think matters and why it should matter to you. There's going to be, in my opinion, I think, with these ETFs, a lot more investment. An investment from, let's just say, an older demographic. And it just so happens, if you look at the numbers, that the older demographic has the majority of the nation's wealth. So if you want a lot of capital to flow in, when we look at something and we say, oh, it's a $5 billion market cap, it can get to $100 billion. With your money, with my money, it's not going to happen. With a bunch of little techie people messing around with extensions, it's not going to happen. It's going to have to be the people who have the money. And that's an older generation. So watch to see how other competitors come up, like Coinbase competitors, but most importantly, watch these ETFs, watch the inflows and watch the outflows. Why do I believe this is so important? Well, for me, it might change how much of my crypto I may sell if I believe we're in a bull run and it's going to hit a peak. If you look back over time and you look back and you look at what's probably going to happen in the future, it looks as though every market has high highs, low lows, and then the next cycle comes and it's smaller, less volatility, and it's smaller over time, whatever. Law of diminishing returns, whatever, doesn't matter. But as more money comes in, you'll have more stability and you'll have a little less volatility. And especially, I believe, with ETFs, if you and I are trading on our apps all the time, and we might think, oh, I'm not a trader, I buy and sell every 6 months or a year. Well, that's not really long-term investing. There are those that put money in things. And think about this. Bitcoin has been heralded as a store of value. What does that mean to the average investor when they have a $5 or $10 million portfolio? It means store of value, gold. What do you do with gold? You buy it. Do you trade it? No, you just buy it and you just let it sit there forever. It's a store of value. Bitcoin, store of value. So potentially there's a lot of people, particularly in Bitcoin, that may not be looking to buy and sell and buy and sell and buy and sell. And that money might just stay there. I think the same thing's going to happen with these ETFs. I think a significant amount of new money purchasing through ETFs is just going to sit there. What does that mean? It means potentially we might have less volatility, meaning oftentimes when we see something get through a support level and that becomes gets through resistance and now that becomes support, well, that support might be pretty strong. If we have a lot of people in the market that have no intention of taking things out. So, long video. Again, what's my point? My point is, for me, when I look at my investments in things like Solana and Hedera, even if it starts to peak, I may be still holding on to a significant amount for the long run. I may not get rid of it. A lot of people are calling for, 70, 80, 90% drops after the bull run. And I'm sure that can happen. But is it going to happen for some of those that have ETFs and have a significant amount of money in there? I'm not sure. Time will tell. But I think generally speaking, they will not deviate as much from the norm. And we will have a little more price stability in some of those. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Watch these ETFs when they come out, because they could come out in January, February, in the beginning or middle of this bull run, whatever that may be. It might have a significant impact on price. Might be a trading opportunity, but at the same time, you might want to consider maybe not selling everything through this bull run. That was my point. So I hope this was helpful. Keep an eye on those that you own and the ones that have ETFs, and watch and see how that price stability goes, because it might make a difference in your decisions to sell and how much to potentially sell. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. As I always say, hope we can make generational wealth together with crypto.